All right, hey guys, we're back for another episode of Cloud City or Rancor Pit. This is the episode where we basically go through and talk about different shows we watched, generally non-Star Wars related, movies, television shows, whatever it's going to be, and we just basically refer them to you, thumbs up, thumbs down, whether or not we like them. Again, it's all our own personal preference, and we encourage you to watch and make your own decision for yourself. But we did one of these, I guess, about 4 or 5 months ago, where we'd wrapped up kind of the previous year. It's been a few months. We've watched some stuff, so we thought we'd throw out another one. Greedo, would you like to start us off?
So, is the idea we're gonna throw a couple things out or a bunch of things?
Well, yeah, you can
I
just
really only have like a couple
yeah.
things. I
I
have like
honestly
one
only
thing.
have like maybe three or four at the most.
I'll start out though with
And just hold on,
my
just to
yeah
explain, so for those of you who have not watched, Cloud
right.
City means it's a recommended show that we
It
liked it, or the
belongs
person
truly
recommending it
belongs
liked it.
amongst the clouds.
Yes, it belongs amongst the clouds. And a Rancor pit means we disapprove. We're just going to throw it to and feed the Rancor with it. We can actually give a worse rating, which is the Sarlacc pit. That's where it
It
deserves
will
to be
never be
slowly
seen
digested
again.
over 1,000 years.
Right.
It's so bad. We have had a few of those the last
And if
few
it
years.
ever escapes, the Jawas can have it.
That's right.
Um.
Okay, Greedo, go ahead.
So my Cloud City is Foundation, the
Okay.
series Foundation on Apple Plus TV, I think it's called
Okay, yeah, I've seen the previews.
Apple
I haven't watched
TV.
it yet.
It's based on Isaac Asimov's novels or
Okay.
novel. Uh, and I know probably anybody who knows a lot about Asimov or has read a lot of Asimov may not like the series because it takes liberties. It's not a faithful adaptation of some of the ideas and
Okay.
characters, and it does bring some more modern ideas of characterization and things like that into it.
Hmm.
Um, but I really enjoy it for what it is, and they came out with a second season just a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Um, it was a long wait, like years between the first season and the second one. The first season cost a fortune. But that's what I think is one of the things that's good about it, especially the first season. It's a spectacle and it has compelling characters and Asimov's ideas. If you write them into the dialogue and have them out there, even if you water them down, son, or whatever, they're still compelling. They still have that power
Yeah.
to draw you in. Um, so it's been a long time since I read Foundation. So if it had been one of the more influential books in my life, um, I might have a slightly different opinion. So I'm not going to judge the people out there who are huge Asimov fans because he deserves them. His
Yeah.
works are pretty amazing. And they've influenced so many things. Anything to do with artificial intelligence and all that stuff has probably been influenced by him. But space exploration, colonization of worlds and things. But I enjoy it. I think the actors do a really good job with what they're given. It's cast well. And They're full hour length episodes, which I miss sometimes
Yeah.
from some of the Star Wars content we get.
Agreed.
And I feel like they make pretty good use of the time. The sets, the designs, the art design, the special effects, um, pretty top notch. And it's interesting to see a show that's decent, um, where you're exploring something you haven't seen a million times before.
Sure.
It's a different version of a Star Trek type future. It's humanity's future in the
Hmm.
stars and stuff. It's got a lot. It's closer akin to Dune, I think, than anything else. Like the people making it almost took some of the concepts or feel of Dune and incorporated into the foundation. But anyway, I recommend it. If you don't like it, I don't know what to say. If you're just basing that on the original material, I can't judge you. But if you kind of let that go and just enjoy the show, I think it's a good show, and I would have no reason to not recommend it. So that's my Cloud City.
Nice. Okay. So for my first one, I will say I watched a Netflix original series called The Night Agent. and this is starring Gabriel Brasso, Lucianne Buchanan. And what this basically is, it's a kind of a political thriller. He works the phone. The night agent is basically the guy who answers the phone overnight at the CIA, pretty much. As far as it's a direct hotline from agents in the field, and the story basically is about how this night agent gets caught up in a particular storyline, this espionage and everything, and
Probably
he
hears
goes
some
out in the
things he
field to try and
shouldn't
solve
have.
some murder. What's that?
Probably hears some things he shouldn't have on a phone call or something,
Right.
right?
Well, yeah, he just kind of gets embroiled in, this missing, a case of murder slash missing persons of former agents and stuff like that. And I thought it was interesting. It was good. I wouldn't necessarily call it a level show, but it was strong. It's one of those movies that if it had a bigger budget, you could tell it wasn't a big budget show, but they worked really well with what they had, and I enjoyed it. So I definitely would ultimately call it a Cloud City and recommend it. Definitely some good action. The acting is pretty good, and yeah, I enjoyed the show. I think it's worth a watch.
Well,
Have
I
you
haven't seen that
have,
one yet. I'll have to
yeah,
put that on my list.
yeah, I'd be interested to see what you thought of that one.
Do you think that belongs up there with Wilrow Hood on a comfortable couch in Cloud City?
Yes, I think it deserves some time with Will Road.
Yes, I always assume I know they had to write stories about it, but I assume he made it back to Cloud City at some point with his ice cream
We would
business.
assume, yeah, with his ice cream maker.
What are we doing with our lives? We need to start a Wilrow Hood, franchise ice cream or yogurt,
Right.
or just get an infomercial and sell that ice cream
Yeah,
there.
exactly. Go on QVC.
Um, okay, I'm going to do a carbon freeze,
Oh,
carbon
okay.
freezing
Yeah.
chamber.
That's another rating that we give to stuff that we're
Yeah,
just kind of in the middle of the road. We're
just
not really
yeah,
sure about.
it's not quite it's not quite Rancor or Sarlacc bad, but it's again on Apple, and it was called The Crowded House,
Hmm.
I
Okay.
think, or The Crowded Room. I can't remember which
Okay. I
one
don't
was
think I've
it.
even heard of that one.
But it stars Tom Holland,
Hmm.
Spider-Man,
Yeah.
and some other good actors, and the acting is fine. There's nothing wrong with the acting. But this as far as a series, I just wouldn't waste your time on it.
Okay.
It's very melodramatic, very heavy-handed, and the ideas to me are worn out. It's like there's tropes in there that they try to make it a little spicier by combining uh I don't know, just a lot of adult themes and things in there, and kind of I can see why Tom Holland took the role because he's in his 30s now, right?
Yeah.
And he doesn't want to be Spider-Man forever.
Right.
So you have to do some things where people see you in a different light and that you're capable of doing
Yeah.
things a different light. He's certainly capable, but it's not his fault that I'm freezing this carbon freezing
Yeah.
this series. But it's a series, and I would just pass for something else. You may find something. There's things to like there. It's
Hmm.
not like it's a disaster, but there was nothing. I was 3 episodes in and I was like, what am I doing? This is just I already figured everything out. It's a mystery that is super transparent. I mean, the mystery, I don't even know what they're trying to accomplish with the way they reveal the mystery. It's just so obvious what's going on that
Yeah.
um and without the mystery element, I don't think the rest of it was compelling. Once you figure out what's going on, it's not compelling enough to hold your attention. So um anyway, freeze it.
Okay.
See if it survives its journey to the
Yeah.
emperor.
Now
See
that
if
you
they get some
mentioned
sense to it.
Tom Holland's name, I do remember seeing some reviews of that were meh
Yeah,
to poor.
I
So
didn't look at any of the reviews.
mm,
That was just my opinion, and I didn't finish the series. But um, I used to be the type, like, if I started a book, I would finish it no matter what, even
no
if I
matter
just
what,
thought
yeah.
this is trash and I didn't realize it was trash. I just did it out of respect for the fact that I started it, but I'm not like that anymore. I just
Right.
I'm
It's
like,
not holding it. It's
no,
not worth it. You're dropping it.
yeah. Yeah, it's not, are the next 3 hours of my life gonna somehow redeem the last 3 that I just wasted on this show? So, and the answer is no. So,
Right.
for me.
Yeah. All right, cool. So that was called, what was that? What was the name of that one called?
It's either the crowded house or the crowded
The
room.
Crowded Room, something like that. Okay.
Yeah,
All right. So
it's a
that one's
series on
Carbon
Apple.
Frozen on its way to the Emperor.
Yes.
Right. All right. So for my next show, I watched The Diplomat, another Netflix original series that just premiered back in the spring of this year. It stars Kerry Russell and Rufus Sewell, who I love very much. I love Rufus Sewell. He's great in so many things. Um, anyway, this was a show kind of along the same sort of lines as Night Agent in that it deals with espionage, sort of geopolitics, things like that. The diplomat, the main character, is basically a newly appointed diplomat um, to the United Kingdom from the US. And it just kind of gets into all this sort of geopolitical stuff that's going on at the time with potential World War III stuff. But the interesting take and angle on this show is it's not your typical espionage show, that it's not an action show. It's, I'm not even sure I'd call it a thriller, really. I guess it is, but it's basically what this show does is it shows you the backroom stuff. It's not a special effect show. It's not out there showing you all the, it's not a Jack Ryan, it's not showing you the actual action taking place in the field. It shows you all about what's going on behind the scenes, the decisions being made to cause that stuff to happen, if that makes any sense. And some of you may say, oh, well, that just, all that does is get into the, it breaks the whole don't, show us, don't tell us problem. But it's the whole point is to show you how these decisions are made, and the sort of the calculations that go on behind the scenes, between the leaders of the nations and things like that. I thought it was really good. It's a show that has a really good payoff, I think, and I'm really looking forward to the second season of the show. So I definitely highly recommend this one. Definitely a Cloud City, The Diplomat on Netflix.
Okay, I have seen this one,
Okay.
and I was recommended the show by Gundark, so she's seen it,
Okay.
and I know she gave it high marks.
Hmm.
I think she could relate to the Kerry Russell character to a
Hmm.
large degree of being a woman, who's probably one of the smartest people in the room,
Yeah.
but it's not about women being oppressed or anything. It's
Yeah.
just about the fact of a reality that certain people, um, whether it's a personality, their gender, whatever it might be, you have to try harder. I mean, you
Yeah.
just have to. Doesn't matter. I mean, you could be the smartest person. You almost have to manipulate. You have to resort to manipulation,
Hmm.
and you got a character who doesn't want to manipulate people, but it comes naturally to her. And she's got a husband who's a master manipulator, and so he's always trying to pull her further and further over to the dark
Right.
side. And she wants to hold on to some kind of ethical boundaries and be able to testify in front of Congress and not be sent to prison. So,
Right.
but you're right. You're absolutely right that most shows would show you like there's a conflict about a carrier in the ocean. They would cut to the carrier and show you the carrier captain making
Right.
decisions and stuff. This isn't about that.
Yeah, the show
It
doesn't
doesn't
do that.
matter. That stuff doesn't
Hmm.
matter. It's how these people in a room react to news and how they separate, come up with a plan, bounce off each
Hmm.
other, betray each other, inspire each other, manipulate each other, and then get back together. And whose influence is going to win? It's about influence,
Right.
and it's also the thrust of the show. The best part of the show is the dialogue, and I'm sure the actors must love that because
Hmm.
they get the full focus.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Succession
Hmm.
or a show like Homicide used to be, Homicide: Life
Hmm.
on the Streets. It was about cops, but not a whole lot of time was spent on action cop things. It was
Right.
cops talking,
Yeah, yeah. It's them
and
discussing the
and it was
case versus
compelling. Yeah,
running up and down an
it was
alley in a
compelling as
gunfight.
hell, because
Yeah,
they
yeah.
got it exactly right, and they had great actors doing it. And this isn't. I bring up Succession because it is another one that thrives on the dialogue and the personalities clashing with each other. But this is, Succession could be really really funny, but it was dark and deep also. And
Yeah.
this show isn't as dark as that.
Hmm.
It's funnier, but great show. And they Netflix didn't waste any time renewing it for some reason for a second season, and that brings up the whole thing of how does Netflix judge these things? I
Right.
have no idea, because they'll order a very complex show for like one season, and it ends on a cliffhanger, and they're like, "Okay, we've seen enough.
Yeah, we're good. Let's move on.
Yeah, we think this will somehow farm the same number of clicks as if we did spend all the money on a season two."
Right, right.
Uh, I don't know how they figure that stuff out, but it's
Yeah,
very frustrating. A lot of great shows don't make it back, and then
right.
some that are just
It'll look
wondering like
terrible, just get greenlit.
why.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this one was a good one. It's a green light, and
Yeah.
um, great acting. Like you said,
Yeah.
Russell Sewell is great in it,
Yeah. Rufus Sewell's
and
great. Yeah.
it's kind of character that he was born to play.
Hmm.
And Kerry Russell's phenomenal. And you have to have, if you're going to have a show like this that's melodrama, comedy, drama, and all be about the dialogue and the interaction of the characters, you got to get that casting right. You've
Yeah.
got to have characters that pull the audience in and have them empathize with them, even if I know nothing about diplomacy,
No,
or how
exactly.
realistic this show is or anything else, but
Yeah.
the actors pull you right in and you're along for the ride the whole time. So,
Mm,
and the dialogue and everything,
yeah.
it works together, but you may not know what's going on exactly or why you should empathize with them, but you do.
Right.
And that's so important.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right. What's up? What's your next one, Greedo?
I don't know that I really have another one. I really
Okay.
don't. I've been watching a lot of stuff that just at random almost. Like I don't know if there's been a lot of like titles come out that like I've been trying to watch, they on HBO Max, they brought back Warrior finally.
Oh,
And I
okay.
think I think I did Warrior as a Cloud City a couple years ago. And it's been on hiatus and I thought canceled because of COVID and all that stuff. Um but they brought it back and they have a season 3 or 4.
Hmm.
And but I haven't had a chance to really watch it yet.
Okay.
So I've just been working a lot and doing a lot of projects and things. So there's things that I probably will recommend or will diss. But some of the stuff that I would diss just isn't really even worth it. It's just like it's like I kind of just check out a show and move on. And it's unless I get a little time into it to know whether it's really going to be good or bad. Um, it's hard to say it deserves a
Yeah.
Starlight Pit, you know what I mean? And if I
Yeah.
just kind of check it out and move on, I don't feel comfortable just panning it without knowing what it's really
Yeah.
about.
No, I
Because
get it. That
somebody
makes sense.
somebody will say, "You didn't watch episode 2. That's when it really takes off." Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Well,
you have anything else?
how about this? Why don't you throw? I know we both watched this show. Why don't you offer Strange New Worlds as your next one?
As what?
That's up to you. That's
Carbon
up to you.
freeze.
That's up to you.
Um,
If you're the one off, I mean, I'm going to give my take on it, but
yeah. Uh, I That's tough for me. Um, it's like I'm going to invent a whole new category that goes under the Cloud City, but isn't, um, maybe with the Ugnaughts or something in the worker room.
it's working in the bowels of it.
Right, right. Like you could work your way up to the Cloud City, the upper levels.
Right.
You're not with Lando. You see Lando go by, and you have to bow and scrape or whatever.
Right.
Um, and then get back to work. You're with Wilro Hood in the ice cream making department. But no, I don't know what to say about it except that I do watch it. I do
Mhm.
enjoy it for the most part. It's had 2 seasons now, right?
Yeah, this was the second
Um,
season. Yep.
but I would, if I was being honest, I'd probably I'd probably throw half the episodes away.
Okay.
I'd probably say half or maybe a little less than half are what I would consider really good, and some are trifling, and some
Hmm.
are to me just bad, and I would definitely get rid of them.
Yeah.
But I think about Next Generation, and when it started, some of it was hilariously bad,
Yeah.
like
Some of it was
hilarious,
just awful. Yeah.
like the episode where they were put on a planet made of styrofoam rocks
Yeah.
with a curtain in the background, and they had to fight the French Foreign Legion were like pigs for some reason,
Right.
and they were carrying around muskets with. I think a Q might have done it to him. I don't know. And they had to fight,
Yeah.
and Worf got stabbed by a bayonet and stuff. It's like, wow. Even watching it back then, we were like, what
What
is
is
this?
happening?
What is happening to our beloved franchise? But but it became one of my favorite shows ever.
Right.
And this has all the elements where it could, but
Hmm.
things hold me back, like freaking I love Pike,
Yeah.
but he's got a industrial um kitchenette in his quarters.
Yeah.
His quarters are the size of 10 forward,
Right.
and this is the same enterprise. And they just live in luxury. It just looks too modern. Even on the screen when a ship comes on, a red thing tracks it and tells
Hmm.
them and gives it micro information and stuff. And Spock's science thing, it was used to be just like this thing that did colors on his eyes when he looked at it,
Right.
couple of buttons and switches that he would just switch at random.
Yeah.
Now it's like this whole thing, like they're so advanced from what I just feel like I'm in a different universe every time I watch it.
Hmm.
And I don't want to be a purist, I don't really care that much about canon. I just want to be entertained. But I do care some about Star Trek canon, I have to admit.
Hmm.
Um, and that's what holds me back from that, and the fact that I just really think the show's pretty mediocre overall, honestly. If I have to just sit there and evaluate it, it's great. Its good moments are pretty good, and then it's just a lot of boring stuff. Just to me, a lot of boring stuff. So what were you gonna say about it? I know you
I
really
I'm in
have a
love with
higher
the show.
opinion.
I'm absolutely 100% in love with this show, Cloud City, all the way for me.
Okay.
That being said, I'm not blindly everything they do is perfect. I'm not saying that, but
No, but
this
you
is one of
enjoy
the few
it
shows
a
that every
lot.
single week I look next for. I cannot wait for the next episode, kind of thing. I love it.
Yeah.
And
I'm
yeah,
glad it's being made because it's a counterpoint to Discovery,
right,
which to us turned
was
into a
terrible.
disaster.
Yeah,
Turned into a
absolute
disaster.
disaster.
Absolute
Yeah,
utter catastrophe.
waste
So,
of time. Yeah,
yeah, and worse. I mean, it really
yeah,
set Star Trek back like a million years or something.
yeah, yeah.
But so I love it as a counterpoint to that. And that's
Hmm.
why, the good, but I just want them to find a vision that I can really get on board with, a showrunner or something kind of like Picard did
Hmm.
in their last season,
In
where
the last season,
they
yeah.
won me over. I was totally on board.
Oh
Totally
yeah,
on board. I just want to
yeah.
feel that way about the show. But go ahead. We've heard everything I have to say about it. Go ahead with
No, it's just that I like the fact that they got back to the things I like about it. It's much more episodic. They do have some
Mhm.
overarching themes and storylines that they still touch on every few
It's
episodes,
more
but
about character development, though.
yeah, it's more
Those.
about character, but it's not just this one story driven thing like Discovery was.
Mhm.
It to me the nature of Star Trek is episodic. Every show up until Discovery was episodic. I just think it's a show that works better. New week, new planet, new nemesis. And then you get finished, you wrap a bow on it, and you move on to the next one. I like that. I also like the aesthetic of the show. I love the getting back to the original colored uniforms. The blue, the yellow, the blue, the gold, the reds, and all that. I love that aesthetic. That's what I loved as a kid on original Star Trek. So I love getting back to that, and I really like the I like the cast. I think they have a really great cast on the show. Anson Mount is again one of my favorite actors out there right now. I've loved other things that he's been in, like Hell on Wheels and shows like that, but I really love him in this role. I think Ethan Peck does a great Spock, even though I know they get a little bit more, they play a whole lot more with the emotions of his character
I'm glad
in
you corrected yourself.
in this show. Oh yeah,
A
yeah.
little
In
bit,
this
a
show,
whole lot
a
more.
whole lot more. It was never really even a thing in the original series, but now and that's just based on the society we live in. They have to explore emotions and deal with that. So I like the cast. I like the episodic nature of the show. I like the look of the show. Um and each week I'm yeah, there are hits and misses like you mentioned before. There are good episodes, bad episodes, but again, every series of Star Trek has had episodes and wow episodes. So
Mhm.
the show to me is no different. The only thing that's different is I think that the bad episodes are personified a little bit more because we just don't get as much quantity as we used to, because with the old shows you're getting 20 plus episodes a season. Now you're only getting like 8 to 10. So if you have two or three bad episodes, it's like, wow, that was 33% of the season was so but I like it. But so for me, even the bad episodes have been okay. There's still some good stuff I can pull from them. We're not going to do an episode by episode breakdown, and we touched on it a couple of weeks ago, but they did the musical episode a couple of weeks ago, and that wasn't great, but at the same time, it wasn't something to make me go like, oh, this show is terrible, I'm never going to watch it again either. It was just, to me, it was just like it was an interesting idea. It didn't come off. Let's move on. you know and
Yeah.
so, and they did the very next week. They had the series, the season finale, and it was better. So much better. Got back to what the show to me is really about. um so I was able to forgive that anyway. But season 2 I thought was really good. They did end it on a rare to be continued, which you don't see a lot anymore. But yeah, here's hoping that next year they bring it back and we get the resolution of the storyline, because nothing's worse than stopping on a to be continued.
Yeah, I agree. Um, I just I can't help but wish that they had done like the title and done something strange and new, and a new world. Um, Deep Space Nine had the balls to set Star Trek in a static location, in the same location, in a
Right.
quadrant that they could populate with however they wanted to, because it wasn't as well known as like the
It
Wild
was right by a
West.
wormhole, so anything could come
Yeah,
through the wormhole.
right.
Yeah.
They had some good
Mhm.
concepts for a show. This is just another show about the Enterprise going around randomly doing whatever it needs to do at the time. And I know emotions, I know, you forgive the emotions thing, but I want to see a show about a nuclear submarine crew where they let their emotions, cloud their daily business, and because this thing straight to the freaking bottom of the ocean if you have an emotional day, you know what I mean? Or it's gonna
Right.
explode and cause World War III. So I just don't, somehow I think they've lost a lot of the military part
Yeah.
of the Federation as far as what Starfleet is supposed to be. It's very lax. It almost makes no sense. And um I keep waiting for Captain Pike to be a true leader, and he's really only a leader on the emotional level. He's not a great leader on any other level
Mhm.
so far that I can see. And the other thing is, I would like to see them, instead of doing TV melodrama scripts, like we have a time travel script that explores character relationships and how, I want to see some science fiction again. They used to get actual science fiction writers to write scripts and propose ideas
Of course.
for Star Trek. I'm
Yeah.
just not seeing that at all.
Yeah. No.
They're not challenging with their ideas in any way, shape, or form. But they rushed to a musical episode.
Yeah.
They rushed to a comedy of manners with Spock.
Mhm.
This stuff's just not Star Trek to me. It's misplaced ideas. I'm contradicting because I said I want to see them strange and new, and that's what they did. But to me, CW has done that 100 times. Every show had a musical episode.
Yeah.
So I just don't see that as being challenging or new, really, except that it took balls to do it with Star Trek.
Right. It does.
But I just would like to see, not a little less. I do admire that they keep the character relationships consistent, because every Star Trek series, they would do something and advance a character relationship, and the next week it'd be like nothing
It's like nothing ever
happened
happened. Yeah.
because they had so many scripts they approved or whatever, and they just, yeah, like Captain Kirk would be so in love and the woman would die, and next week he'd be like instantly hitting on another woman again, like
Yeah.
the
It's like,
woman
no, like
didn't
that person
exist
was
that he
never
was in love
there.
with the
Yeah.
episode before. Yeah, there really wasn't a ton of, nobody cared about continuity of those kind of things very
Yeah. Yeah.
much.
That wasn't even,
So I
or
like that the
like there would be
relationships.
massive damage sustained by the ship or something, and the next week everything's perfect.
Right,
Like it
right.
just came off the shipping line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But on this show, they can go, you remember that conversation we had 2 episodes ago? We need to revisit that or whatever. And that stuff never happened,
No. Yeah.
in Star Trek. They didn't have that kind of consistency of the characters.
Right.
They just had overall consistency,
Yeah.
like Riker's a stand-up guy and he's going to continue to be one, but they
Yeah.
didn't. He's got an on again, off again thing with Troy, and
Mm.
it's never ever going to be resolved, or
Right.
really truly advanced. So you feel like this show keeps a little more, but I'd rather them go back to them being a crew that's way more concerned with, hey, if we screw up, the vacuum of space kills all of us.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a harsh environment. You really can't be screwing around doing a musical break in the engine room or whatever.
Right.
Um, so
No, that's very true. But yeah, like I said, I really enjoy the show. I recommend it highly. If you have any, I mean, I think if
And
you're
I
a
think
person
Gundark
who's
would be right
watched
there
Trek,
with
you've watched it by now, you
you.
know?
She loves it, right?
Yeah, yeah, I figured.
We can't speak for her, but she loves it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so once again, I stand alone. I want to live.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't really have any more Cloud Cities, I don't think at this point. I've seen a couple of movies, but as far as TV shows, that's pretty much it. That and
Oh, I did. Yeah, that does bring me. I did want to say, the last voyage of the Demeter,
oh, you saw that. I haven't seen it yet.
the horror movie that is out right now.
Yeah.
Gundark and I went to see it
Okay.
together. Um, because if you knew her, people out there, the stuff like that's a big deal in her life.
Yeah, it
she's
is.
she's a professor. She's taught Dracula.
Yeah.
Professionally to students and stuff. And she's also done media courses where they examine the different adaptations of different things like this. And she really liked it. And she knows Dracula backwards and forwards. I don't. I've
Yeah.
read it and everything, and I like it. Um, I was just so impressed with this movie, and to see it only had like 48 or 58% on Rotten Tomatoes blew my mind.
Hmm.
I'm not sure what I didn't read any of the reviews because I just didn't want to depress myself.
Yeah.
But I didn't, it's not like I thought it was money well spent on a movie going. It was great in the movie theater. It had great atmosphere, sound. We saw it in the biggest screen in the theater. Um, it didn't resort to typical jump scares,
Hmm.
and yet somehow it had those moments that were shocking and that I never jumped in my seat, but it was like gothic horror. It was horrifying,
Yeah.
and you felt for the characters. The cast was great. Um, the setting was terrific. The ship that
Hmm.
they're on, they put so much work into the art design and everything. All that stuff was terrific. It's got a monster in it. I'm not going to go into what it's all about. I guess I said the D word already, Dracula, but it is related to Dracula. It tells you right at the beginning, so I guess it's spoilers. But the monster design, I felt like I was watching not necessarily Alien,
Hmm.
but something that really took it seriously, and
Good.
that rolled out something good. And uh um that's important to me when I see a monster movie or something with this kind of creature designs.
Right.
I want to see something really good, and they really delivered for me on that front. um and it's almost like an alien type re-envisionment.
Okay.
If you think about it, it's a simple
It
movie
sounds
like
like it's a
that.
similar sort of
People on a ship.
situation. You've got people trapped on a place
Yeah,
they can't get away from,
people
and there's this
trapped.
monster on there with them.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And it's beyond their normal capabilities
Hmm.
to deal with, but they have to kind of take stock, look around, and like, how do we deal with something completely unusual?
So
Who
exactly like
here
Alien.
can we take
Yeah.
knowledge and abilities from and combine with ours? So
Right.
where we might have to be, where we might be able to match up with this thing, because otherwise we are going to die.
Hmm.
We're really totally outmatched.
Yeah.
And the horror of it is that you slowly realize that, and the audience. I mean, it says my internet connection is unstable. I'm not sure if that's going to cause problems, but
Yeah, you're
we
been
as the
freezing a
audience know
lot
more
on
than
my
they
end.
do, and they catch up to us. But
Mm.
anyway, it's okay. Anyway, I just want to say, in the movie theaters, go see that. I mean, I don't know how in the world they got the money to have it made, because it's a niche kind of movie.
Yeah, yeah.
But they did such a good job. It deserves support, and I hope word of mouth. I hope word of mouth gets out there. I hope people like it to see it, and I hope it at least, because they said it was a flop. Its opening weekend was a flop. They've forgotten all about word of mouth and the fact that if you
Yeah,
give things a chance, sometimes
right.
they catch on, and I'm hoping that
Exactly.
movie does. Um, but yeah,
Yeah. Excellent.
it's definitely Cloud City. I was so impressed with it.
Yeah, I've seen the preview several times. I'd really like to go check it out. It's
So
really good. So, all right. Well, that's gonna wrap
you
up
would
Cloud
love it.
City for this time.
You would
Well,
enjoy it.
yeah, yeah, I agree. I have a feeling it looks good to me on the preview, so I have a feeling I'd like it too based on that review alone. So, Yeah, well, that's it for Cloud City. Let us know if you've seen anything new that we have or have not mentioned. Let us know what you think about the shows that we've watched, and give us a like and a thumbs up, and subscribe and click the bell and all that good stuff. And we'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.
Take it easy.
Yeah, I knew something was going on there because about midway through.
Hi there, this is Mike Quinn, and I played Nine Numb in the Star Wars movies, and I want to say hi to the Cantina Club. Yeah, may the force be with you.